2 days in, and we have already had a phenomenal start to the 2022 playoffs, but no game thus far has been better or closer than Game 1 of Boston versus Brooklyn. This series is very up in the air for many people, including myself, but after a 1-point win by the Celtics, I am still on the side of Brooklyn winning this series in 6, most likely 7 games. These are two very evenly matched teams, but even though they lost Game 1, I would still have to give the slim edge to the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm going to tell you all why. I'll start off by talking about Boston, because there is still a very real chance they can win this series. Do not take this video by any means as me guaranteeing you that the Nets are going to win, because it really could go either way. We saw in Game 1, these are two very evenly matched teams, and a big reason why is Jason Tatum. He has the potential to play as the best player in a series against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, like he did yesterday. Tatum gave you 31 points and 8 assists while shooting very well from the field and playing very good defense on arguably the best scorer in the history of the NBA in Kevin Durant. He was great from all over the field, he got to the free throw line, he was finishing well, and of course, he hit the game-winning, buzzer-beating layup with like half a second left to go. Dude was he put on a masterclass. He put on an absolute masterclass last night. Jason Tatum is a great player, and the rest of the Celtics played pretty well too. Marcus Smart, 4 of 9 from 3. That is a good 3-point shooting night for him, even though Marcus Smart taking 9 threes is never really a good thing for your team. Jaylen Brown played decently well, although he didn't shoot amazing. Al Horford had a throwback game, 8 of 13 from the field, made both of his threes, finished with 20 points and 15 rebounds. This man looked phenomenal. Everyone in the starting lineup, basically, besides Daniel Tice, played very well in the game last night, and that is what Boston is going to need. They need this switchability. Their biggest strength over the Brooklyn Nets is their defense. Tatum, Horford to an extent, Smart and Jaylen Brown, and then off the bench, guys like Grant Williams and Derek White. These are all very switchable players who you can throw at Brooklyn, a team that uses a whole lot of isolation with their two best scorers in KD and Kyrie. They hunt mismatches like crazy, and if you can make life tough on them like they did last night, obviously it didn't affect Kyrie Irving, but with Kevin Durant, you keep a big, capable defender in front of him, and sometimes he's just not going to be able to look like his normal Kevin Durant self. That is how the Celtics have to win this series if they are going to. They need to win it based on their defense, even without Robin Williams here to defend the paint. However, while Boston does have a chance because of their defense, I still don't think you can do enough to stop KD and Kyrie to win yourself this series. Kevin Durant last night did in fact get guarded very well by Jason Tatum. I don't want to take credit away from Boston for how good the defense they played was. However, Kevin Durant is not going to shoot 1 of 5 from 3 again in this series. He's just not. He's Kevin Durant. It doesn't happen. And 9 of 24 from the field isn't even supremely inefficient. It's just considered a bad game because it's Kevin Durant. So if Kevin Durant in a bad game still had 23 points, and you only won by 1 point on a buzzer-beating layup, this type of win just doesn't fill me with any confidence in the Celtics' ability to win when Kevin Durant is not having a quote-unquote bad game by his standards. What are you going to do if Kevin Durant scores 30 points instead of 23? Because he's going to do that most of the time, and Kyrie is probably going to keep having similar games to this. Maybe not quite 39 points, but I expect him to be scoring in the 30s every game as well. I've seen a lot of people talking about how Marcus Smart's going to clamp down Kyrie Irving, and have you guys not watched Marcus Smart before? This man is the most apparently a lot of people don't watch Marcus Smart because he's one of the 3 Defensive Player of the Year finalists, despite being massively overrated. He is not the best defensive player on his own team. I think you can make an argument that both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are on the same tier of defender as Marcus Smart, while Robert Williams is far and away the best defender on this team when he was healthy. Now, I know he's been injured for a little bit, but still, having Smart as a DPOY finalist? Absolutely blasphemous, completely idiotic, and completely undeserved. This man cannot be the guy you need to lock down Kyrie Irving. As we saw last night, he doesn't pay attention half the time when he's on the floor. He was giving Kyrie wide open threes because he just was trying to do too much to help. He's a very talented defender in terms of his athleticism, but his IQ is just so all over the place. He'll make like a great defensive play, and on the very next play, he will go and double off of someone like frickin' Nick Claxton and leave Kyrie Irving open for 3. It's ridiculous. So I do not trust Marcus Smart whatsoever to hold Kyrie Irving to reasonable shooting numbers, and frankly, I don't think the Nets overall are going to shoot as bad as they did tonight. Seth Curry, 1 of 4 from 3. I think he's likely to make more threes than that in most games. Meanwhile, on the Celtics side, Al Horford was 2 of 2 from 3 and he had 20 points. That's not going to happen again. Al Horford may be better than he looked the last few years. He just plays really well in a Boston Celtics jersey. But this man is not giving you 20 and 15 every night while shooting 2 of 2 from 3-point range, 8 of 13 from the field. Even against the Nets' weak defense, it's just not going to happen. So I've got to say, I still have to go with the Nets. I know that they lost this game, but at the end of the day, their offense is just too potent, and I cannot see Boston's defense, which, while very good, is missing their best defender. I can't see them winning this series. I think that Jason Tatum is probably going to play a little bit worse in the next several games. Al Horford is probably going to play a little bit worse. Meanwhile, guys like Kevin Durant and Seth Curry are going to play a little bit better. And this will still be a close series. It could still go either way. But ultimately, I think that small difference is going to be enough to give Brooklyn the edge. And I do still have them winning the series in 7 games.